Some software settings have a huge impact on the user experience. So let's take a look at how to configure the related preferences that affect computer performance. Okay, so I've just got a default set open and let's go into preferences. And if you remember, that would be under the options menu on a PC or under the live menu on a Mac. And once we get there, let's go to the audio category or tab here on the left. And the preference that we're looking for here is the buffer size. So in short, the buffer size has a great deal to do with the kind of user experience or the computer performance. And at larger buffer size, the computer works a lot better. But we suffer because there's what we refer to as system delay or latency. And how that occurs is that when you're recording audio, as you play a note or sing a note, the audio coming back through the system is going to be delayed enough that it actually feels or sounds like echo to you. And so one of the things that we need to adjust then when we're recording audio and MIDI actually is that we want to reduce the buffer size when we're recording and then bump that up when we're editing and mixing. So you might ask, well, at what point does the latency reduce to the point where we don't experience that echo? For me, I'll say that somewhere around 256 samples is where it stops to bother me. So if we set it on that, you can see that your system latency is around about 16 milliseconds. And that's measured in the input and output latency added together. Often I can set it lower than that, for example, around 128 samples, and still have a lot of tracks and plugins and reverbs and other kind of CPU intensive things that are part of the session or live set. Now, as you start to go lower and lower and you're at a lower buffer rate, you might start to encounter clicks and pops on the playback as part of that low buffer size. And you can test that out on your system. And you can do that by enabling the test tone down here and then changing your buffer size. And if you start to hear clicking and popping, then you know that your interface plus whatever you've got going on in your project won't allow you to go that low without having kind of degraded audio on playback. So let's just check it out. Okay, nothing at 128. 64 sounds okay. Well, 32 on my system without any kind of plugins or other things going on in the session sounds okay right now. But you'll just need to set this for the particular context in which you're working. And as I mentioned, for me, when I'm recording audio or MIDI, I'll start maybe at around 128 or maybe go as high as 256. And then as soon as I move to editing and mixing, I'm going to bump that back up to the largest setting that's possible so that I have the greatest chance of my computer and Ableton Live working at maximum efficiency. So most preference options are set it and forget it. But the buffer size is a setting that you're going to frequently adjust. So if you experience unwanted latency or audio popping and crackling, you know where to go to fix the problem.